The moment you are born, the palace erupts in celebration. Everyone, especially your father, is overjoyed. Now, your father knows who will inherit the empire. Moreover, his noble lineage will continue for generations through you. Not only those in the palace, but also the Turkish people are happy with this news, because a new emperor is rising to protect them. First of all, you are quite lucky, because you don't have an older brother. Otherwise, your chances of survival would have been very low. Although you don't have an older sibling, you do have a half-brother born on the same day as you. Perhaps he will be your first and only true friend in life. But this closeness won't last long. For now, everything seems fine. But there's one problem. Some guards in the palace want to poison and kill you, because your half-brother's mother sees you and your mother as rivals. The reason is this. In the Ottoman Empire, if you are the Sultan's wife and have a son, you become one of the most powerful women in the palace with the title Haseki Sultan. But beyond this power, there is only one higher title, Valide Sultan, meaning the mother of the Sultan. Everyone is after becoming the Valide Sultan. To achieve this, people resort to any means necessary, ethical or not. Years pass. You and your brother manage to survive despite all the dangers. Now you're about 3 years old, and these are the best years of your life. For the next decade, you undergo intense training, alongside language, history, philosophy, literature, Islamic studies, and mathematics. You also receive rigorous training in martial arts. You grow physically stronger, and your mind sharpens. By the time you turn 13, you are strong but still lack real experience. That's why you are immediately appointed to a province. Now, it is under your rule. Thousands of soldiers await your orders. Of course, you don't shoulder this great responsibility alone. You have a mentor by your side to guide and advise you. He watches over you and ensures you take your first steps in governance with confidence. Additionally, you must now actively participate in battles. Because according to Turkish tradition, if you want to earn respect, you must shed enemy blood, otherwise, your standing among your soldiers and people will gradually diminish. Then, an envoy arrives at your palace, and you learn that your father has summoned you to war. You immediately prepare and set off with your soldiers to join your father. Your half-brother is also on the battlefield. Together, you fight back-to-back against your enemies. You achieve conquests, expand your empire's borders, and kill thousands of enemies. After the battle, both you and your brother are wounded. Now, you know what it takes in a real war, and have partially learned how to command an army, while your father, you, and your brother celebrate with your soldiers after the war. Suddenly, another envoy arrives. A rebellion has broken out in your province. Many of your soldiers are dead, and your fortress has been captured. Do you know what this means? In the eyes of your father, your brother, and your people, you are now worthless. You must immediately reclaim your honor. You set out with your soldiers, and after days of sieges and battles, you finally retake your fortress. Now your task is to address the grievances and troubles of the people in your province. Your days are filled with state affairs and wars. You are now 25 and still single. Congratulations. But there's one problem. On the battlefield, tensions between you and your brother are growing. What once began as friendly rivalry is now turning into open conflict and unrest. At the heart of this tension lies the thirst for power. Both of you have set your sights on the Ottoman throne, but there's one crucial point you must be careful about. If you become too prominent during this struggle and start acting like a sultan, you will draw the wrath of the real sultan, your father, and remember, his anger could be your end. But now, you don't need to worry about that anymore because your father has just died. The only thing left for you to do is rush to Istanbul and seize the throne. Days later, when you arrive in Istanbul, you see that your brother has already taken the throne. He got there faster than you. This is a disaster for you. You could bow to your brother, take orders from him, and continue governing your province, but your ego won't allow it. You are stronger, smarter, and more beloved by the people than your brother. Why shouldn't you be the sultan, right? You gather your loyal soldiers and attack your brother. The result? Thousands dead, including the brother you once loved. Turkish history has witnessed such events countless times. Dozens of Turkish leaders had to kill their own brothers. Because, as Thanos said, the strongest wills make the hardest choices. In this life, we all want something, including you, dear viewer. We all want to succeed in our exams, but very few of us stop playing video games and start studying. We all want to realize our dreams, but very few of us stop watching TV shows or hanging out with friends to focus on work. Everything in life has a price. Just as Thanos had to sacrifice Gamora for the Soul Stone, a prince who wants to seize the Ottoman throne must inevitably sacrifice his brother. After reluctantly killing your brother, you ascend the throne. Congratulations! You are now an Ottoman Sultan. You might think your troubles are over and you can live peacefully, but hold on tight. Your real life is just beginning. Before, you were responsible for only one province. Solving problems wasn't too difficult. For example, if a rebellion broke out, you could easily suppress it, but now that's nearly impossible because you are responsible for the entire Ottoman Empire. Considering the empire's borders span 5.2 million square kilometers, it's almost impossible to personally go and quell a rebellion in some distant corner. But don't worry, you can now send men to do it for you. The first thing you do upon taking the throne is appoint loyal people to various positions. The greatest favor you can do for yourself is choosing a wise vizier. Once everything is settled, you can go to war. Because in the east, you are locked in a relentless struggle with the Safavids, while in the west, you constantly clash with European enemies. You command armies and strive to protect your borders. In times of peace, you retreat to your palace, drowning in endless bureaucracy, signing decrees, reviewing tax records, and reading reports from all corners of the empire. To relieve stress, you sometimes spend time with concubines or retreat to a corner to watch YouTube videos. The palace never stops. Every day, foreign envoys, viziers, merchants, and military commanders come and go. Some obey, others scheme, while you sit on your throne trying to control everything, because the fate of this empire rests entirely in your hands. One day, news from Bulgaria sends chills down your spine. A prince in the region, despite swearing allegiance to the Ottomans, has launched a horrific rebellion, mercilessly slaughtering your subjects, even impaling some and torturing them to death. Rebellions are nothing new to you. Small uprisings often flare up along the empire's borders, but you've never seen anything like this. His actions are not just political rebellion, they are pure monstrosity. Even the viziers in the palace grimace as they read the reports. You immediately take action and, without much difficulty, bring the rebels' head to the capital. The next day, you wake up to more news. The Russians have captured a distant fortress and ruthlessly slaughtered everyone inside. The thought that you failed to protect your people weighs on your heart like a massive stone. You blame yourself for their deaths, and the grief causes you to suffer a facial paralysis. Following this news, you sign a harsh treaty with your enemies under severe conditions. The empire is shrinking day by day, and there's nothing you can do. You watch as your state declines and falls behind European powers in many areas. Your enemies surpass you in science and military affairs. It's not all over yet. You must implement reforms for your country. But just as you prepare, the Janissaries, the backbone of the Ottomans, stand in your way. Your soldiers oppose any changes in the empire because every reform weakens their authority and power. You carry out as many reforms as possible without drawing too much attention, but it's not enough. You go to war one last time to reclaim lost territories, but something is wrong again. You are no longer the person you once were. Your wounds heal slower now. You can no longer ride or shoot arrows as well as before. Instead of you, your children now play the leading roles in battles, while you watch from afar. You win the war. Congratulations. But you are too sick to celebrate. On your way back to the palace, you vomit, your stomach aches, and you have a fever. But none of this matters, because an Ottoman Sultan must never appear weak. The moment you enter the palace, you're put to bed. Days pass. Doctors try to heal you, but it's futile. You can't even go to the bathroom alone because of the pain. Wasn't it just yesterday that you became Sultan? You even killed your own brother for this. You were always on the front lines in every war, protecting and serving your people. But now, this is where it ends. You can't even lift your head from the pillow. The cries of your daughters and servants echo through the palace. They may not say it to your face, but you know it well. The envoys have already gone to summon your sons for the race to the throne. You will soon be just a name in history books.